Introduction. Greetings my friends, today we will discuss an invaluable subject that affects most of us living in this competitive and demanding society, the weight of perfection and how to move past it and experience freedom in its absence. We live in a culture that idolizes flawlessness, where anything short of perfection is seen as a failure. The pressure to be perfect can be overwhelming, whether it's that perfectly curated social media feed, the immaculate home, or the report with no typo. But the ancient Stoic philosophers, those wise masters from Greece and Rome, offer us a profoundly liberating antidote. You see, the Stoics did not worship perfection. Instead, they embraced the inherent imperfection of the human condition and found strength, serenity, and authentic excellence within it. As the Stoic Emperor Marcus Aurelius reminded us, the universe's change our life is what our thoughts make it. Our mindset, not external circumstances, determines whether we succumb to the tyranny of perfectionism or learn to thrive despite its pitfalls. Throughout this video we'll hear from Stoic luminaries like Seneca, Epicurus, and Musonius Rufus. Their timeless teachings will guide us in reframing our relationship with imperfection, not as a weakness to overcome, but as an opportunity for growth, self-compassion, and meaningful achievement. You can relate to a student's experience, paralyzed by the fear of turning in anything less than a flawless assignment, or the professional stuck in endless revisions and unable to declare a project complete. These all too common modern afflictions stem from an inability to accept our human limits, but the Stoics offer us a pathway to liberation by learning to focus on what is within our control, embrace the inherent value in the process, and reflect with self-kindness. We can break free from the shackles of perfectionism, and in doing so unleash our most authentic, vibrant, and resilient selves. So let us begin this journey together, guided by the wisdom of the Stoics. May their insights empower you to abandon the unrealistic quest for flawlessness and cultivate the courage to show up as your perfectly imperfect human. Chapter 1E. Understanding Perfectionism. Self-understanding perfectionism. Let's start by exploring perfectionism and why it has become such a pervasive issue in our modern lives. Perfectionism is the relentless pursuit of flawlessness and inability to accept anything short of the ideal. We see this play out acutely in the age of social media, where carefully curated feeds create an illusion of perfection. Carefully posed photos edited to remove any imperfections give the impression that others are living picture-perfect lives. This fuels our insecurities and drives us to try and impersonate that unrealistic standard, but beneath the filters of and staging, the reality is that no one is perfect. We all have quirks, flaws, and areas where we fall short. The Stoics recognize this innate human imperfection as a core part of the natural order. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, the universe's change our life is what our thoughts make it, yet society increasingly conditions us to view any flaw or mistake as unacceptable. Able we become perfectionists, terrified of failing, being judged, and not meeting the impossible standards we set for ourselves. This can manifest in procrastination as we revise and refine rather than accept our work, or it may lead to burnout as we drive ourselves to exhaustion chasing an elusive ideal. The psychological toll is immense. Perfectionism has been linked to anxiety, depression, and a chronic sense of unworthiness. We criticize ourselves mercilessly for not being good enough or measuring up. Even our successes can feel hollow as we're never satisfied. The Stoics, on the other hand, taught that the pursuit of excellence, doing our absolute best, is admirable, but the quest for perfection is a fool's errand, a form of self-torment. As the Stoic philosophers Seneca wrote, true happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future. So how do we break free from this affliction of perfectionism? The Stoic path begins with self-awareness, understanding our perfectionistic tendencies, root causes, and impacts. Only then can we cultivate more nourishing mindsets and behaviors. The journey ahead may be challenging, but the rewards of reclaim in our authentic, imperfect selves are profound. The Stoic acceptance of Chapter 2. The Stoic acceptance of imperfection. Imperfection at the heart of the Stoic approach to overcoming perfectionism lies a profound acceptance of human imperfections. Seneca famously observed, "What progress, you ask, have I made? I have begun to be a friend to myself." This radical self-acceptance is the essential first step. The Stoics recognize that our constant self-criticism and harsh judgment of our flaws only compound our suffering. How can we ever find peace and fulfillment if we cannot befriend and embrace our imperfect selves? Consider how harsh you could be with your friend or any close acquaintance for failing or not meeting your high expectations. However, we tend to forget to apply the same ethic to ourselves and show compassion to ourselves for our failures, mistakes, and shortcomings. Instead, self-compassion is we become our worst enemies, scolding ourselves for any imagined imperfection or omission. The Stoics would counter this tendency with a simple question. For instance, in self-demeaning, one may ask, "Would I treat a dear friend this way?" If the answer to such a question is in the negative, it is actually shocking that such treatment is bestowed on us by ourselves. The words by Seneca can help remind us one thing: self-love as a form of advancement will not be built by practicing self-hatred. We still have the pursuit of growth and excellence. The Stoics valued continuous self-improvement highly. However, they recognized that such progress could only be sustained through self-acceptance, not an unrealistic quest for perfection. Epictetus, the formerly enslaved Stoic philosopher, offered powerful guidance on this. He taught us to distinguish between what is within our control and what is not. While we cannot control the outcome or opinions of others, we can control our efforts and mindset. Applying this principle to perfectionism, we realize we cannot control whether our work or performance will be flawless, but we can control our commitment to doing our best and our willingness to learn from missteps or shortcomings. This frees us from the crippling fear of failure. Moreover, the Stoics saw imperfection not as a liability, but an opportunity. We develop true strength of character through embracing our flaws and vulnerabilities. As the Emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it." I invite you to reflect on a time when you felt crushed by your own perceived imperfections. It could be a presentation at work that didn't go as planned, a passion project you struggled to complete to your high standards. How might a Stoic perspective have freed you from that self-judgment and opened the door to growth? By practicing self-compassion, focusing on what is within our control and recognizing imperfection as a natural part of the human condition, we shed the shackles of perfectionism. The path to authentic excellence lies not in flawlessness, but in our willingness to show up vulnerably, learn continuously, and celebrate our progress, not just the destination. The Stoics knew this secret to fulfillment. Now it's time for us to embrace it as well. Let's move forward, imperfect yet whole. Focus on what you can. Chapter 3. Focus on what you can control. Control. Now that we've begun to embrace our inherent imperfection through self-acceptance, it's time to take the next step in our Stoic journey. As the wise Emperor Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. This profound insight lies at the heart of the Stoic approach to overcoming perfectionism. Much of our struggle with imperfection stems from an obsession with controlling outcomes and external factors beyond our reach, worrying endlessly over what others might think of our work or whether the result will live up to our impossibly high standards. But the Stoics knew this was a losing battle that only breeds anxiety, frustration, and a profound sense of powerlessness. Instead they taught us to focus our energy and attention on what is truly within our control, our thoughts, behaviors, and responses. While we cannot dictate the opinions of our boss, the grade on our assignment, or the reception of our creative projects, we can control how we approach these situations. Do we catastrophize and assume the worst, allowing our fears to paralyze us, or do we meet each challenge with clarity, courage, and a commitment to doing our absolute best? The choice is ours. The Stoic teacher Epicurus eloquently stated, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This simple yet profound shift in perspective is the gateway to reclaiming our power and finding freedom from perfectionism. Think about a time when you felt trapped by circumstances beyond your control, maybe a presentation that didn't go as planned, or a personal relationship that was causing you anguish. How might embracing the Stoic focus on internal control liberate you from that sense of helplessness? We cultivate an uncheckable resilience by concentrating our energy on the aspects we can influence: thoughts, efforts, and responses. We realize that even in the face of imperfect outcomes, we can still find meaning, growth, and a profound sense of personal agency. The Stoics understood this secret well. It is not the events but our relationship with them that determines our experience. So let us commit to shifting our focus momentarily to what is truly within our control, for it is here that we will find the strength to overcome the tyranny of perfectionism. Embracing the process over. Chapter 4: Embracing the process over the outcome. The outcome as we continue our journey to overcome the shackles of perfectionism. The Stoics offer us another profound insight: the power of focusing on the process, not just the result. Now I know what you might be thinking, but shouldn't I be focused on getting the job done perfectly, on achieving that flawless outcome? The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius would gently remind us, do every act of your life as though it were the very last act of your life. You see, the Stoics understood that it's not just the destination that matters, but the way we travel there. When we become consumed with the need for perfect results, we often lose sight of the inherent value in the journey itself. We rush through tasks, skipping over opportunities for learning and growth to cross the finish line. But imagine if we approached everything we do with the same care and presence as if it were our last act. Would we still nitpick every tiny detail, or immerse ourselves in the process, savoring each step along the way? The Stoics knew we find true fulfillment in this mindful engagement, not in the elusive pursuit of flawlessness. Think about when you were so focused on the end goal that you forgot to appreciate the journey. It could be a big project at work or a personal goal you were chasing. How might shifting your mindset to the process rather than the outcome have changed your experience and the quality of your work? By embracing the Stoic principle of being fully present in each moment, we open ourselves up to new possibilities. We become less attached to the need for perfection and more open-minded to the lessons and growth that arise from our efforts, no matter the outcome. As the Stoics say, true excellence lies not in the appearance of perfection, but in the depth of our engagement and the authenticity of our striving. So let us practice savoring the process, celebrating the small victories, and finding joy in the journey, for it is here that we'll discover the freedom to be gloriously raised obediently. Imperfect practicing self-improvement. Chapter 5: Practicing self-improvement with a Stoic mindset. With a Stoic mindset, you might be thinking, if I'm supposed to embrace imperfection, does that mean I should just give up on Bettering myself, not at all. The Stoics were ardent advocates of continuous self-improvement, but with a crucial twist that sets their approach apart. As the wise Marus Aurelius reminds us, he who lives in harmony with himself lives in harmony with the universe. In other words, the key to meaningful growth and achievement lies not in pursuing some unattainable ideal of perfection, but in aligning our actions with our deepest values and accepting ourselves exactly as we are, imperfections and all. The Stoics recognize that self-improvement isn't about chasing an elusive mirage of flawlessness. It's about honoring our unique strengths and weaknesses and committing to steady incremental progress. As the philosopher Confucius famously stated, it does not matter how slowly you go as long as you do not stop. This profound sentiment encapsulates the similar Stoic view that true self-mastery is a lifelong journey, not a destination. So how do we put this Stoic approach into practice in our quest for self-improvement? First and foremost, it's about setting realistic process-oriented goals. Instead of fixating on flawless outcomes, we focus on the actions and habits leading us towards our desired growth. It could be as simple as practicing a new skill for 30 minutes daily, committing to regular self-reflection, or cultivating a positive mindset through daily affirmations. Secondly, we embrace the growth mindset's power, a fundamental Stoic philosophy tenet. We view setbacks and mistakes not as failures, but as opportunities to learn, refine our approach, and grow. The Stoics understood that true mastery isn't about reaching some pinnacle of perfection, still the lifelong journey of continuous learning, adapting and evolving. And perhaps most importantly, we cultivate self-compassion throughout the process. We treat ourselves with the same kindness, empathy, and encouragement we would offer a dear friend struggling to better themselves. After all, as Epicurus wisely observed, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. By extending kindness and understanding to ourselves, we create a nurturing environment where our self-improvement efforts can thrive. We acknowledge that stumbles and missteps are inevitable, and we greet them not with harsh self-judgment, but with a gentle curiosity to understand what went awry and how we might adjust our approach moving forward. Moreover, self-compassion fosters a sense of self-acceptance that is essential to the Stoic path of self-improvement. When we accept ourselves as imperfect beings, we remove the crushing burden of unrealistic expectations and free ourselves to focus on the present moment, the only place where actual growth can occur. In this harmonious balance of self-improvement and self-acceptance, we find the freedom to live our most authentic, fulfilling lives. We understand that growth is not about attaining some idealized version of ourselves, but about continuously refining our thoughts, actions, and habits to better align with our values and highest potential. The Stoic approach to self-improvement is a lifelong practice of patience, persistence, and self-compassion. It's a journey of continuous learning and adaptation where every stumble is an opportunity to refine our approach, and every success is a stepping stone to further growth. As we strive to better ourselves, let's do so with a Stoic spirit, patient, persistent, and imperfect. Let's embrace our flaws and limitations as an integral part of our humanity and use them as motivation to evolve, learn, and grow continually. In this harmonious dance of self-acceptance and self-improvement, we find the true essence of a life well lived, a life of meaning, purpose, and inner peace. Chapter 6: Reflection and Continuous Learning. Reflection and continuous learning. Lastly, we must embrace one final crucial element: regular self-reflection and continuous learning. The path to shedding the shackles of perfectionism is more than just a on-and-on endeavor. It's an ongoing process of deepening our self-awareness, questioning our habitual thought patterns and remaining open to growth. Opportunities. The ancient Greek philosopher Socrates, whose teachings influenced the Stoics, famously stated, "The unexamined life is not worth living." Those words may seem bold, but they capture a profound truth that without pausing to reflect on our experiences, we remain trapped in a cycle of unconscious reactivity. The Stoics understood this well. They advocated for regular periods of self-examination where we take an honest inventory of our thoughts, behaviors, and areas for improvement. In these moments of stillness, we can identify the perfectionistic tendencies that may be holding us back and chart a new, more liberating course. Imagine if you carved out just 10 minutes each evening to journal about your day, the challenges you face, the moments of growth, and the areas where perfectionism may have crept in. How might that simple reflection reshape your relationship with imperfection over time? But reflection alone is not enough. The Stoics also emphasize the importance of continuous learning, of remaining humble students of life's ever-unfolding lessons. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca wrote, "As long as you live, keep learning how to live." By opening ourselves to new perspectives and insights, we can continually refine our ability to embrace imperfection gracefully. The universe is in flux, and as Epictetus taught, only the educated are free. Through a lifelong commitment to rational self-examination and an eagerness to expand our wisdom, we actualize the Stoic ideals of resilience and self-mastery. So, whether it's reading works by modern-day Stoic thinkers, seeking out a mentor, or simply remaining curious about the world, let us commit to a lifelong journey of growth and evolution. In this spirit of humble learning, we find the freedom to let go of the exhausting pursuit of perfection and instead revel in the beauty of our delightfully flawed humanity. As we bring this video to a close, I encourage you to reflect on the profound gifts the Stoics have offered us: the ability to cultivate self-acceptance, to focus on what's within our control, to find joy in the process, to practice self-improvement with compassion, and to refine our understanding through reflection and learning continually. By embracing these timeless principles, we liberate ourselves from the tyranny of perfectionism and unlock our most accurate, vibrant potential. So let us move forward, imperfect yet whole, living each moment with the courage to show up as our authentic selves, flaws, quirks, and all in doing so, we honor the wisdom of the Stoics and tap into the boundless wellspring of human resilience and growth. The path may not be perfect, but it will be profoundly, beautifully ours. Onward, my friends, to an imperfectly perfect life.